What if I told you the most boring thing on your wall could become the most magical? This plain white light switch cover was completely ordinary until I layered it with decoupage and air dry clay embellishments. By the time we're finished, this tiny space will glow with mystical charm, and you'll never ignore a light switch again. Hello, my crafty friends. I'm Donna from Mason Creations, etc., and welcome to my channel. If you're ready, my friends, let's make a mess. Okay, my friends, let's have a little fun today. Have you ever thought about decorating your light switch covers? I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. I'm going to brush on Polyvine's multi-surface lacquer in a dead flat finish. I'm using the dead flat finish because I want to remove the shine. It's specially formulated to create a durable bond on slick, non-porous surfaces such as plastic, glass, ceramic, and metal. That bond acts as a gripping layer that allows paints, decoupage papers, or transfers to stick more effectively. Without it, top layers may chip, scratch, or peel. For best results, I'm going to let this dry overnight. This rice paper is so cute. I just love all the little crescent moons, and it's the perfect size for a light switch. I'm using a water brush to separate the one I'm going to use from the sheet. A water brush has a cartridge that you fill with water and then brush it on the napkin or rice paper. The water dispenses easily, so this is really convenient. You always want to tear your rice paper or napkin instead of cutting it. A torn edge is much easier to blend than a sharp cut edge. I'm also removing the factory cut edges and as much of the background as I can. My crafty friend Justin W. wanted to see a decorated light switch cover. Here you go, Justin. This video is for you. I'm using Polyvine Heavy Duty Varnish in a satin finish as my decoupage adhesive today. You can use this product as a varnish and an adhesive, which is true for all the Polyvine formulas. It works so much better than the most popular brand of decoupage glue that takes 28 days to completely dry and cure. This isn't a glue, so it doesn't go on thick and lumpy, dries to the touch in 1 hour, and is completely cured in less than a week. It's a varnish, so it dries crystal clear and will never yellow. All the Polyvine formulas can be used as a decoupage adhesive, so feel free to use whichever one you have on hand. I got an oversized cover, which is 3.5 inches wide instead of the normal 2 3/4 inches wide. This gives me more space to decorate. There are a few little pieces of paper hanging off the edge of the plate. I'm just sanding those off with a medium grit sandpaper. I'm using a craft blade to open up the hole for the switch. I bent the paper inward and glued it in the back with a Lean's tacky glue. I'm giving the entire front of the cover a coat of my heavy-duty varnish. I'm going to be doing some paint blending, and you need a shiny surface for that. If you don't seal the edges of the paper before painting, they will grab the paint and you'll see the line where the paper ends. So the fix for this is to seal that paper first. This and all the products you're going to see me use today came from decoupagenapkins.com, my wonderful sponsors. And then I'll let that dry for about an hour. I put a little light orchid paint on my plate and mixed it with some white to get the shade I needed to blend with the existing paper. I'm applying it with a brush and a sponge and going right on top of the background color on the rice paper. Where are you all watching from, my crafty friends? Let me know in the comments. I just love to see what cities and countries all my friends are watching from. I'm filming from sunny Las Vegas, Nevada, in the United States. Then I blended some white into the pink. I went back and forth blending those two colors until I was happy with the way it looked and blended. I was lucky that this light orchid matched the background color so well. If you can't find the exact shade, just keep adding small drops of other colors until you find the right combination. For example, If the original color was more lavender than pink, I'd add a small drop of blue. Since there is a coat of satin varnish on this, if you accidentally get paint on a butterfly, it can be easily removed with a wet Q-tip. Because you're watching this video today, DecoupageNapkins.com is going to give you a 10% discount on one order that's a minimum of at least $50. This is a one-time discount and is good on your entire order when you use the code MASON10 in all caps at checkout. So now you can get that mold you've been eyeing or some additional rice papers you've been wanting. Even if you've been ordering from them in the past, you can still take advantage of this one-time 10% discount when using the code above. I'll leave all this information for you in my description box below. To find my description box, click on the word "More" just below the title of this video. The rice paper had a few dots of that darker color right out of the bottle, so I matched that pattern and added more dots. And then I let this dry for about 30 minutes. I'm using my favorite, Doss clay, to make some embellishments for this project. Doss clay is so easy to work with, dries quickly, and has very little shrinkage or cracking when dry. It's perfect for making molded pieces. After pressing the clay into the mold, I'm scraping off the excess with my palette knife. Now I'm smoothing the clay out with some water. Then I'll put them in the freezer for 20 minutes. Freezing the clay makes it rigid, so they just pop out of the mold easily. No fragile pieces will break off. Fresh out of the freezer, watch how easily these just pop out of the molds. No delicate little pieces will break off. They are frozen solids, so I'll need to let them thaw for a few minutes, but not in the mold. Make sure you remove them from the mold right away as soon as you take them out of the freezer. I'm going to use Aleene's tacky glue to add my molded clay to my piece. I need to add this while the clay is still wet so it'll conform to the piece as it dries. This is the best glue I've found for attaching wet clay. If any glue seeps out from under the clay, I'm removing it right away with a clean, damp brush. I'm also pressing down all the edges of the clay very delicately to make sure they're all connecting with the piece. I'm going to let this dry overnight. I've added a new playlist to my channel. This playlist consists of some very easy spring projects that are quick to make and might be good sellers at a craft fair. This project will be included in that playlist. Now it's time to paint all my clay embellishments. I'm going to give you all the paint colors now, so you can just relax and enjoy watching all of these embellishments come to life. For the butterflies, I used Pentart in the color purple, Royal Fuchsia, and Bubblegum. For the flowers at the bottom, I used Bubblegum and Light Orchid, with a dot of gold in the center of each flower. The moon and stars are Pentart Silver. DecoupageNapkins.com has an amazing selection of napkins, and the best part is that you can purchase them individually. They also carry a wide range of craft supplies, including rice paper, paints, clay, molds, and an excellent selection of polyvine products. With thousands of items available and new products being added regularly, it's truly a one-stop shop for crafters. Orders are carefully packed and shipped quickly. You'll earn special bonus points on orders over $100. Additional offers may vary and are often seasonal, so be sure to check their website for current deals. You'll find any promotions displayed in the banner at the top of their homepage. If you subscribe to their newsletter by entering your email address, you'll receive 10% off your next order. This discount is separate from the Mason 10 code and can be used on a separate purchase. I'll leave links to all the products I use in the description box below, along with more details on the current promotions. Please note that all offers are subject to change. To find my description box, click on the word "More" below the title of this video. I let the paint dry for about 30 minutes and then gave the entire cover, including the embellishments, another coat of varnish. I'm going to do some antiquing and need a shiny surface. And then I'll let that dry for about an hour. I'm mixing my own antique using a glazing medium and some paint. I put about a teaspoon in a little paper cup and then added just a few drops of paint. The glazing medium prolongs the drying time of the paint. This way you have a longer working window. Before you apply any antiquing, you need to have a satin or gloss finish. This will allow you to wipe the antique off the surface, and it will remain in all the cracks and crevices. Without a shine on the surface, the antique will grab onto the bare paint, and you won't be able to wipe any of it off. I always add a little water to my mixture because I prefer my antique a little bit runnier. I'm applying it with a brush and wiping it off right away with a soft, dry cloth. You can mix the glazing medium with any color paint to make antique. This allows you to get really creative with your projects. I'm using pen tart in the color black, so it will accent all the little lines on the butterfly's wings. I brushed on the antique and then wiped it off right away with a soft, dry cloth before it could dry. I'm using Victorian blue and the glazing medium to antique the flowers at the bottom. The blue really helped my flowers blend well with the flowers in the rice paper. Any of the products I use in my videos are great products that I personally believe in. I won't recommend anything that I don't like, so you can bet that each one is a great product. All the products I use will be listed in my description box below. Each one will have a blue link, so they're easy for you to find. Any of the links I provide are safe for you to click on. To find my description box, click on the word "More" just below the title of this video. And I'll let this dry for a couple hours. I used my awesome detail brush to paint black around all the edges of the butterflies. Some of the details with the pink paint were dulled by the black antique, so I'm going to freshen them up a little. I also used a fine nail brush to paint the tiny antenna for my little butterflies. You're going to see me use a lot of different tools that make life so much easier. Things like a turquoise cup cradle to keep round objects from getting away, a bow dabra that makes bows in a snap, a water brush for separating rice paper and napkins, nail art brushes for fine detail work, palette knives, a rhinestone picker, and others. All of these items are listed in my description box below and my favorite tools section, just in case you'd like to check any of them out. The flowers at the bottom don't seem quite right to me. They're more vibrant than the rice paper, so I'm going to tone them down some by dry brushing a little white. I did some of the dry brushing on the butterflies too, to keep my tones and color saturation consistent. I'm dipping just the tip of my brush into the paint. I'm wiping off most of it on the side of the paint jar, then wipe even more of it off on a paper towel. You want your brush almost completely dry to get the proper effect. I'm skimming just the tip of my brush across the high points on the embellishment. You don't want the paint to go into any of the cracks or crevices, just lightly across the top. And again, the pink paint got a little too dull, so I'm back to touching up a little of that pink paint. But I do like what the dry brushing did to the black paint. I dotted the center of each flower with pen tart gold paint. I'm going to be doing a little more antiquing, but before I can do that, I need to give this another coat of varnish. And then I'll let that dry for about an hour. I'm mixing some glazing medium with a navy blue paint. I'm going to antique the moon, stars, and around all the clay embellishments to give them a little depth and dimension. This is going to make them pop out from the background by creating shadows. If you're enjoying this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. When you click the like button, a new hype button shows up. If you click that, you'll be able to send points to my channel. YouTube will then send this video out to more viewers. This is great for my channel. I appreciate you for doing that. You won't want to miss any of the new projects coming up, so don't forget to subscribe. I'm giving my entire switch plate a final coat of varnish. All that antiquing needs to be sealed. If you've been using Polyvine products, you're going to notice that they've changed all the labels and some of the product names. The heavy-duty wood varnish is now heavy-duty varnish, and the heavy-duty extreme varnish is now exterior extreme varnish. I hope you love and enjoy these products as much as I do. I'm going to add a little bit of glimmer to all the clay embellishments by adding a little wax rub in the color Old Silver. This will highlight them and make them look so pretty. I'm putting a small amount of the rub on my finger and rubbing it together with my thumb. Smearing it around like that prevents a large amount of your product ending up in one place. I used the light orchid paint I mixed up to paint the tops of the screws and sealed them as well. Don't forget, all of the wonderful products I'm using today can be found at my favorite place for craft supplies, decoupagenapkins.com, and I'll leave you links in my description box below. I added a link to my new playlist of easy spring projects. Click the picture on the right to be taken directly to that playlist. I'm so happy you were here with me today, and thanks so much for watching. I can't wait to see you all next week. I'm working on a new project with you in mind. You can subscribe by clicking my picture in the top right corner.